1995 has not been kind to Michael Andretti. Miami won the pole, dominated. Broken suspension took him out. Australia, another pole. He lost second gear, lost the lead, finally lost control. In Phoenix, his own team suffered a communications breakdown, allowing Robbie Gordon to pass for the win.
Had no idea I was in the lead now.
In Long Beach, over-aggressiveness bit him not once, but twice. Today, Michael's at home, Nazareth, PA, trying to break the 1995 jinx. CBS Sports presents live flag-to-flag coverage of the Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix. This is an event that used to be held in the autumn, and now they've moved to the springtime, the same date as the old Trenton Championship car race. And they couldn't have a more spectacular, sparkling setting for what should be a great race. Hello, everyone. Ken Squire. We're looking forward to a real barn burner here today. Consider that 4 drivers have already broken the old track record. Gordon's at 187 miles an hour for the pole, 2 miles an hour quicker than they've ever gone before. And 23 of the 27 starters are within 1 second of each other as we get down toward time to crank them up. Now, as you look over the season thus far, what a great PPG series this has been. Villeneuve, Tracy, Gordon, Unser in that last race at Long Beach, all winners. But here in Nazareth, there's only one person they're talking about. And earlier today, Mike Joy talked with that one.
Michael Andretti, 3 pole positions. Twice you led the first lap of the race. You've dominated competition, but victory lane has eluded you. What will it take to change that today?
Lead the last lap. Those are the ones we've been having a problem with. I don't know, today is just going to be, you know, keep your nose clean and be able to run in traffic. That's a big key here. Everything changes when you have 26 cars out on a racetrack on a track like this. And, you know, the guy that can get his car working behind the other cars is going to be the guy that wins the race.
Here, is it a fine line between charging and keeping your nose clean?
You have to charge. To get by anybody, you have to really take some chances, actually, sometimes, because it's so tight here. So, you know, it's very close quarters, and sometimes you just squeak by and you say, whew, thank God I made it. You know, it's that sort of racetrack.
Well, Ken, the last time that Michael went to the 5th race of the season winless, he won that and the championship besides.
Thanks, Mike. You know, Michael Andretti, his dad had said for years that when he retired, he wanted to be recalled as the most versatile. And indeed, Mario Andretti was, winning in Formula One, winning the Daytona 500, winning at Indy. And he's going to add another dimension today. We're really honored to have Mario alongside here on what is home base for the Andretti family. And when you think about Nazareth, Pennsylvania, you think about the late 60s, and you running that 1.125 dirt in those old Champ cars, that big right, had to have arms like Schwarzenegger to get through. Some different today than what we saw back there in 1969 when you were the champ here.
Well, it's different, all right, and a lot of things have changed indeed, but the one thing that has remained the same is pretty much the challenge, the particular challenge to drive this course, because being a tri-oval with one long straightaway and having an elevation of some 30 feet, you know, it requires not only that particular concentration factor because you're turning most of the time, but it's also considerably tougher physically for the driver. So, as I said, this is it's quite a place here.
Almost like an old Langhorne. You're turning all the time, about 70% of the time. Now, as to the complexity of this season, let's turn to our colleague, David Hobbs.
Ken, it's been an absolutely wonderfully complex and competitive season so far this year. 4 races, 4 different winners. And of the 12 drivers who are still on the podium, only 2, Pruitt and Rahal, have repeated. We've got a whole bunch of young drivers out there. None of these races have been run from the pole. In fact, all these races have been won from 4th on the grid or worse, which is good news for the lad this afternoon. He's 5th on the grid. And one way or another, this has been one of the best ever PPG years. Now, there are a lot of young, new faces out there, very young and very fast, but they shouldn't be too complacent this afternoon, because right in amongst them, on the outside of row 2, is the oldest driver here this afternoon, Emerson Fittipaldi. I think we're in for an absolutely wonderful afternoon's racing here from Nazareth.
And one of the youngest, and certainly the fastest, is standing by where Dick Berggren is right now on pit road.
Ken, 26-year-old Robbie Gordon absolutely obliterated the track record on the way to winning this pole. and he has won the only oval track race in the series so far this year. That makes him a fan favorite. But there's trouble. He's broken 2 wheel bearings in practice. Yesterday it was a transmission. This morning the engine dumped much of its water. And the question is, can this car hold up long enough for this young man to win his second oval track race?
The command has just been given to fire the engines. 27 drivers getting ready for 200 miles of racing. CBS is thrilled to be back with PPG Series Indianapolis car racing. Stay with us for our flag-to-flag coverage on this day when the flag flies at half-mast in memory of Oklahoma City here at Nazareth.
CBS Sports coverage of the Bosch Spark Plugs Grand Prix is sponsored by Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug, Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics, and by Firestone, America's tire since 1900.
Preliminary laps. You're riding with Ray Hall as we get ready to take a look at the starting grid. There's Robbie Gordon on the pole at 187.4. Vassar, best qualifying ever for him. He'll start in second. Going to row 2 for today. Villeneuve looking for win number 3 of his brilliant young career. And the 2-time F1 world champion Emerson Fittipaldi is right alongside. Going to row 3, and there you have Michael Andretti trying to repeat here on this track. And with him comes Ribeiro. Into row 4 for today. There's Bobby Rahal. 10 oval wins for him. He's looking for a good finish today. And Raul Boesel. Going to row 5. Fernandez is there. And Scott Pruitt. Pat Patrick Carr. In row 6 is Brian Herta and Gugelmin. For row 7, you have Sweden's Johansson. And from Chile, Salazar. In row 8, Paul Tracy and Teo Fabi. For row 9, there's Christian Fittipaldi and Gilles Di Ferran. In row 10, it's Al Unser Jr. way back, but he was way back last year and came to second from 18th in the first 40 laps. Buddy Lazier alongside. For row 11, there's Eddie Cheever in Poit's car and Danny Sullivan. Sullivan, a former winner here. Sam Pedri in row 12 with Dean Hall. Row 13 is Carlos Guerrero and Marco Greco. And then starting out back, Matsushita in that 27th starting position. 200 miles, 200 laps. So there you see the race record by Nigel Mansell. Last year's winner, Paul Tracy. And you see the window for fuel stops in this one.
Well, it looks like about 70 laps, and one thing to watch at the start here, it's quite a very cold day today, and when you're accelerating here, you're turning, so it's it could be very interesting, actually. It could be very exciting, but
when it's this cool,
they all know about it. Yes,
getting those tires heated up. Away and racing, dusting off that first turn. This is the track they talk about with the revolving pivot points on those corners. Wherever you think the axis is, he's to move just in front of you forever. Robbie Gordon jumps out in front. Great move. Oh, Michael Andretti down. Jimmy Vassar touching wheels as he went through turn 3. The last 2 years, the leader of this first lap has gone on to win the race. We'll see. Andretti making a brilliant move on the inside. Turn 2 is where you can run 2 wide. Certainly not turn 1. 35-foot transition between 2 and 3. Back to the line they come another time. Here's Vassar back to 3rd spot. Right behind him, Villeneuve in those blue and white colors.
I think you're going to see the field pretty much settling down now for the next few laps until they start lapping, which is the nature of this course. And of course, I think lapping cars and being able to run in traffic like that is going to make all the difference as far as being able to make competitive passes.
Villeneuve running in 4th. Right behind him comes Fittipaldi.
Fittipaldi, Villeneuve, and Vassar, they're running in very, very close company.
And behind Fittipaldi is that Honda. Ribeiro there. They had a great qualifying run, the best they've ever done on an oval. There's Ribeiro. seemed like all the test work on that car done by Ray Hall, then he has moved on, and now that car is coming to life.
Well, I think that the engine has come a long way as far as having the power that's up to par with the Fords and the Mercedes.
Well, there's no doubt about it that when you look at the work that Honda did in Formula One, that there's no way that the company wasn't eventually going to have a successful engine in IndyCar racing. And this, of course, is such a showcase for engines these days with Ford, Mercedes, and, of course, Honda. And here we are on board with Paul Tracy.
And what a move he's moved. From 15th up to 7th, David.
Boy, this guy is really getting on with it. And as Mario said, it's very cool out there, and these guys all had a tremendous opening lap there on really stone-cold tires. This is the scene here from Bobby Rahall's car, the front-mounted camera. Give you a real idea this of just how fast these guys are going down this back straight, 35-foot drop, into turn 3, long, long corner. What I call a real neck stretcher, that one.
And I think the fact that, as we said, that it is cool, I think you're able to, you're not going to worry about the tires going off on you so quickly, and you can press pretty hard, and that's what we're going to see. I think the race pace is going to be very, very quick, you know, actually throughout the stint.
Yeah, and of course these engines just loving that cool temperature, I suppose, cranking out some serious horsepower.
Ray Hall in 8th. Tracy just in front. Working lap 9, and you can really get the sense of downhill right there.
That's right.
Ray Hall, of course, being followed by Raul Boesel, and of course these two guys are teammates, both driving for Ray Hall Hogan Racing Team. So Hogan himself, Carl Hogan, who I used to drive for, and Bobby Rahal being co-owners of those two cars.
Pruitt back in 10th, rounds out the top 10. Gugelmin just outside in 11th. Bobby in 12th.
Boesel going around his teammate.
That break.
I don't know about job security there.
No. Good point. Rahal, as we speak, on the phone back to the pits, and Carl Hogan saying, Carl, get him out of there. But Rahal now coming under pressure again.
You know, it's amazing that sometimes after 7 or 8, even 10 laps, you're beginning to feel a balance change, and the cars that are going to go loose are going to start going loose just about now, believe it or not.
And in 10 laps, they're ready to do some lapping out there,
already around Greco too.
And that's the story of this mile track. You're always in traffic here. You got 3 of them. Look at that move.
That's the story indeed.
Perron down to the inside, trying to get around Greco.
And of course, a tremendous amount of responsibility is put on everybody here, the lead drivers and, of course, the drivers who they're lapping. It's very difficult for them as well. They're still lapping at about 180 miles an hour, and they can't just watch the mirror all the time. On the other hand, of course, they've got to let the leaders through.
Yes, because here you go, as you exit turn 3, go into turn 1, you go from apex to apex, and the car is being lapped. It has to be aware to leave at least one car with for the faster car.
Oh, absolutely, and because it's very difficult for all of them.
Unser well back in the pack, trying to move under Salazar. As you look further back in the field, he's back in 19th position, challenging for 18th. And not coming up as quickly as he did a year ago when he made that incredible run from 18th to 2nd in the first 40 laps. That's Salazar. Belisaro just in front of him, using a little higher line as he sweeps around that hard turn number 3, back to 1.
But you're going to see now that actually the faster cars are going to be forced to the outside, and that in itself is going to work. The groove is going to make it wider and wider. You'll see most of the outside passing going on in turn 2, obviously.
Back with the leaders. And look at Andretti closing in on Gordon.
Both of these cars, of course, have got the Ford engines, although Michael's car is the latest Stage 2 engine. Robbie Gordon has yet to use that.
Well, this is going to be very interesting to see, actually, as to just how things develop here, because looking at the speed that Gordon qualified, you thought maybe he could just run away with the field, but you must remember that maybe his condition or his setup could be quite neutral, and it could be one that might go loose. So it's going to be interesting to see how it develops here, because Mike seems to be staying quite close to him. So
You could tell us about Mike's car here, the sort of turbulence he's going to be in there from behind Gordon doing 187-mile-an-hour laps. I mean, it must be a bit of a problem here.
Well, yes, but the fact that you're able to stay close, the car that's in front of you is going to tell you that if you get by him, then you're probably going to pull away.
You're going to be real good shape then, yeah, right.
Exactly.
Robbie Gordon from his third career pole just in front of the 1987 Nazareth winner, Michael Andretti. Dogfight up in front with 18 of the 200 laps complete.
Michael making a bit of ground there, wasn't he, on that? Now they got some serious lap traffic to negotiate. Oh, Michael goes underneath. Boxed in.
He's boxed in by traffic.
Using those lap cars, that's the key here. And here he comes again. Andretti on the inside. Gordon on the outside. Side by side through three. Give it to Michael Andretti. Michael Andretti storms into the lead on lap 20. So it's Michael Andretti now in first and falling to second. Robbie Gordon. More from Nazareth in a moment. You're aboard Paul Tracy's car number 3, riding in 4th position at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. The CART PPG Series here this afternoon on CBS. At the present time, Michael Andretti stays in front at lap 27. Caution free thus far. And you're watching Vassar right here being challenged by Villeneuve. Tracy is in there. Fittipaldi, all four, continuing their war for 3rd place. Let's go to a report from Dick Berggren.
Well, Robbie Gordon is slipping back, Ken. He's all the way back to 7th spot from his pole position. The problem, the car is very, very loose. They would like to be able to come in and change it, but they're going to stay out on the racetrack and hope he can hang on to this thing. Now, he had exactly the same situation in Phoenix, drifted all the way back to 13th, and still won the race.
Well, our man Mario called that absolutely spot on. He said that if... big crash.
First caution of the day.
Vassar and Tracy got tangled up there.
Yeah, it looks like Tracy.
And here is Tracy coming in. Paul Tracy would pull himself up through the field into 4th, now sliding quickly back.
Yeah, I think Tracy just cut in a warm-up lane. I don't know. Yeah,
you can see that
he's down for the day, yes.
Chewed up bad.
Yeah, that's too bad because he was really coming on. He was...
Take a look at what happened out here. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken, the damage may be confined to the front wing area, although it looks like they are unhooking Paul. They're looking over the front wing and having a look at the left front suspension, which is definitely askew. They were ready to change tires and put Paul back in the race and get him back out, but one of the left front lower control arms is bent or broken. Too close to the wall to see for sure, but definitely the contact will put this car... No, that looks like they are going to get it up in the air and try to make repairs, but they will be lengthy. That's why Paul has climbed out of the car.
The 1994 Nazareth champion in big trouble as he came out of turn number 2, and here it is.
Oh, trying to go around the outside of Vassar. Vassar's blocked in there, moves out to try and get around.
Well,
Jimmy Vassar didn't give him a lot of room there,
yeah, it didn't look like... I didn't think he realized that Paul was right on his right rear. That's exactly what happened to me last year.
I guess
with
Vassar
Cheever. Eddie Cheever.
I think Vassar had got his eyes on the Crystal car in front of him, Salazar's car, and just didn't see him coming.
And we'll return to the Nazareth Speedway after this message and a word from your local station. We're back just under green, lap 35. Gordon, Fabi, Fernandez, all pitted. Tracy on pit road. Big trouble on that car after that hard hit. We also saw Vassar come in and out. He really didn't stop in the pits. He's back on the track with Michael Andretti now in first, Villeneuve in second, Fittipaldi third, Ray Hall fourth, Rivero is in fifth, Raul Boesel sixth, Scott Pruitt up to seventh. We see Vassar in eighth. Gugelmin is ninth, and in 10th is Gil de Ferran. Now, Mike Joy has Paul Tracy with him, the winner here last year.
Paul, you made a great charge to the front with a car I know you've been struggling with through the weekend. What happened here?
The car was working great, the Kmart Budweiser car, and we were coming through, making passes on the outside, and I came up on Vassar, and he was struggling loose. I pulled up alongside him on the outside, and I mean, he just drove straight across and put me up against the wall. So it's, you know, a pretty stupid move on his part. You know that you pass down on the outside here, and you know, when a guy's struggling, you shouldn't drive out to the wall.
Sorry to see you out of it. That car is damaged too badly to repair, and Ken, none of the leaders pitted, because if they pit before lap 60, they'll have to make 3 stops instead of just 2.
Thank you, Mike. We did see that Vassar car go in, but not make a stop. Came right back and is effectively still in 8th place.
That was one of those racing incidents that it's just so hard to avoid, especially on a track like this. Vassar, if he was struggling with a car that was loose, he was weaving his way through the traffic as well, and obviously didn't see Paul Tracy coming up on the outside. On the other hand, Tracy got to assume that he has seen him, and it's just one of those things that's going to happen. You just can't race at this sort of speed in this confined area without having that sort of
the blind spot is always the right side, mainly because you have actually a pad to hold up your head, your helmet, and your vision. You have to really look at the right side mirror. So as I said, it's a bad thing. You know, obviously we all have to look and see what's happening, but
got another car in trouble. That's Lazier's car, number 19.
Wow,
coming to a halt. Not a particularly good spot.
No,
at all, and for good reason too.
I like to think we're going to see some stops now. I really do. I mean, some pit stops because
sticking your neck out
halfway through.
Watch this. At lap 41.
Wow. Got up in the gray air, up into the dust and grit and the rolled up rubber. Wow. He got pushed up there to a certain extent. I think he was letting people through. That's one of the things that happens to you when you try to be a nice guy and you get yourself offline and drag yourself into the wall. Very unfortunate for Buddy Lazier.
Dale Coyne and Walter Payton's car.
Well, looks like all the leaders opted to stay out again, and
yeah, folks, and that is the Walter Payton. That's him himself, Walter Payton, football player extraordinaire, now race car owner.
Vassar on pit road. Lap 42.
Saying Vassar's car is all right, but you can better believe that this is a panicked stop. They want to be sure. They hardly had a chance to take a look at it before Vassar took on 4 tires, a full load of fuel, and he's out.
We'll be back to Nazareth as we are in a pit stop period at lap 42 of the Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix. Stay with us. Back with you in Nazareth, Pennsylvania on CBS Sports for the Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix. And we now have 45 of the 200 miles complete. And after 44 laps, 44 miles, Michael Andretti in front, Villeneuve in second, Fittipaldi third, Ray Hall, Ribeiro, Unser from 19th up to 6th, Gordon holding second, Teo Fabi having a good run, Fernandez, he is going to get a black flag. At the same time of the incident that brought out the caution, they were reporting that he had a tire run over an air hose on his last pit stop, and they were trying to get him in for a stop and go. So you're going to see that move around some. Looking back through the rest of the field, and Mike Joy has an update for us.
Ralph Bozell come in, and his teammate, Bobby Rahal, also wanted to come in. Bobby wanted to get a little less front wing, but he is having trouble with his fuel meter and telemetry. The team says we're going to have to go and calculate fuel mileage like in the old days. Again, what this caution will do will extend the 70 laps they had anticipated running on green before making that first stop. This will certainly be only a 2-stop race for the leaders, and Bobby Rahal won here once by going 92 laps, including a lot of caution, on 1 tank of fuel, so somebody may gamble.
Indeed. Now, you're watching from Rahal. Take a look again at this incident. You see Salazar well up in the Dick Simon car. And
that Salazar pushed Lazier up, and Lazier got pushed up there, got into the gray stuff, at which point he'd lose all grip and took the car into the wall. Very unfortunate.
Lap 47, we're back under green. In the first lap pitting, Rougelmin was in, De Ferran, Christian Fittipaldi, and Johansson. Then Pruitt, Bozell, Vassar, Herta, Cheever, and Guerrero came in that second lap. We're back to racing. Green condition after the second caution of the day.
Here's Robbie Gordon almost 3 abreast at one point. So
Marco Greco there.
He got his car back.
As you see that bodywork flapping, that not nearly as much from the bodywork as from our camera, but it gives you some idea, a little more idea of how much of a pounding you take on the Smile track, pulling about 4.3 G's every time you hit one of these corners.
Well, you can see his head bobbing around in there, which gives you an idea of what the driver's going through, and also see that real space-age helmet he's got.
That's right. I think that's something that's very, very interesting, because the helmet becomes part of an aerodynamic piece on these cars anymore. This allows for the air to flow better to the rear wing, and believe it or not, it makes a big difference not only from an effective standpoint, but also from the fact that the better the air flows, the less buffeting the driver has.
Take a look at Scott Pruitt here. Going with it. Al Jr. right there. Little Firestone versus Goodyear deal that's heating up for Indianapolis this year. Hey,
actually, Firestone has done a tremendous amount of testing here, and that I think probably I'm sure they feel they're probably in as good a shape as they hope to be coming into this race. And Scott Pruitt proved that he was extremely competitive, very, very quick. And the unfortunate part is the accident relegated him to the spare car, and you never know whether you can get the spare car right up to snuff. You know, with the limited time that we've had. But it seems like he's right there.
Well, and he is a lap down. Pruitt has gone a lap back in this as he's had to go to the backup car, and it's not working as well for him as he wished. Meanwhile, Unser stays up in the thick of things, fighting his way from 19th up into one of these top running spots to 6th, car number 1 for the Penske folks.
Well, of course, everybody took a pit stop except for the leading 6 cars. They're the only people that haven't stopped. Which is probably one of the reasons why they are a lap up on Scott. As we on board again with Michael. Wow, getting really close to the wall there.
Michael Andretti really looks like he has his back up for this one, Mario.
Yeah, he has actually, he's being pressed pretty hard, and he has a bunch of traffic there. That usually tells a story here. You know.
Villeneuve right behind Michael Andretti as they go into that turns 2 and 3 complex, and a bunch of traffic in front of them, which they're going to be overhauling before this lap is out.
And Villeneuve goes on the outside.
Yes.
Oh, but now he's boxed in, but he gets through.
Actually, I've been watching Villeneuve during practice, and I'll tell you could tell that he was really making tremendous progress on his chassis, because he was very consistent with his lap times, and it's showing right now that he has a good race setup.
And there's Michael dropping by Michael.
Yeah.
Michael's car, could it be going off a bit?
Well, no question. At this point, you know, 57 laps, you know, yeah, the tires obviously, I would say he's loose again, you know, that's really the problem.
Herta there running right over the grass to give these guys rooms as they went by him.
Rahal stays 4th, Ribeiro 5th. Al Unser 6th, Bobby 7th, Johansson up to 8th, Christian Fittipaldi up to 9th, Robbie Gordon 10th.
The story here is that I'm really surprised that the leading contenders did not stop when it was at least halfway through the stint.
They're going to have to in a minute.
You could tell that, you know, their tires are off, and obviously some are coping with it better than others, but...
Well, we've got an interesting thing here. We've got the youngest driver in the field, Villeneuve, is leading the oldest driver in the field, who's second, Emerson Fittipaldi, at the moment.
An update from Mike Joy.
Michael Andretti reports the car is loose, Ken, and just that and more so the traffic is what has kept him from holding on to that lead. But other than fighting the loose condition, he says the car's okay.
Working lap 61, Mike, and we're riding with Michael Andretti right now back in 3rd spot. Trying to challenge is Bobby Rahal.
Well, what you'll probably see is the cars that have pitted with fresher tires, even though they have a, you know, heavier load of fuel, but they'll still, you'll probably see them coming.
Back in traffic go the leaders. Villeneuve in 1st, looking for that 2nd win of the season. Fittipaldi. Oh, whoa!
Boy, oh boy, that was close.
That's that
no
turn
room for
1.
2 cars there in turn 1.
I think that was Raul Barcelo, wasn't it? But
yes, it was
interesting that, of course, Fittipaldi, the last oval they were at, Phoenix, just about a month ago, Fittipaldi led 78 laps there. If he hadn't had that dash of fuel right near the end, he probably would have won that race. So Fittipaldi, we know, is tremendous on these 1 mile ovals, giving Villeneuve a real workout.
He's working right now. If you watch the way he could really come off turn 3 so tight, I mean, that shows that the car at this stage, you know, is really working well. And then you can see the tires, obviously, you know, are pretty well worn.
Now, this would be the stage of a stint where if the tire, that right rear tire that you and I have been talking about over the weekend, if it's going to start showing signs of wear, this is going to be about...
Now's the time.
Now's the time, right?
So, but it's...
Salazar ducking down.
If your car is working at this stage, you're looking pretty good, actually. You're not going to need any changes when you finally pit.
Oh, Fittipaldi got badly boxed in there. He went low, and unfortunately Dean Hall went low as well. So that's definitely giving Villeneuve a bit of breathing room.
About 20 car lengths.
A lot of breathing room. Salazar from Chile in that green car with the yellow helmet.
Mario, they talk about this turn 2 as the passing corner, but you're so blind coming off that corner. Looks to me like you're really throwing the dice right up against the concrete.
Well, you are, but again, you know, it's the one that really is the most inviting for passing, and as the race progresses, the groove will gets wider and wider, and that's where you're going to see a lot of the action.
We can get an update now on the Vassar story. Here's Dick Bergman.
You're standing here in the pits instead of being on the racetrack where you wanted to be. What put you out, Jim?
I believe we had some sort of an overheating problem. It's a shame, you know. I think the car was running real good. The team did a great job this weekend, and we were running real conservative and just settling in. And somebody hit me in the back early on, but fortunately it didn't hurt our car. That was the first miscue, and then shortly thereafter, that didn't really hurt us, but shortly thereafter we started having the overheating and some sort of a misfire. So, you know, it's unfortunate with good sponsors like Target and STP that really back us. You know, we want to do a good job for them and finish up front, and unfortunately, you know, it wasn't with us today.
Well, it was his best ever starting position.
Bad break for the Chip Ganassi team. San Francisco's Vassar has retired. We're at 68 laps. Here is Ray Hall. 10 oval victories to his credit. Rides in fourth. Tries to do some closing on Villeneuve, Fittipaldi, and Michael Andretti. Now, just behind Ray Hall should be that Honda of Rivero. Indeed, he is. He's right there. They qualified 6th today, which is their best oval qualifying mark. Prior to that, it was something like 13th a year ago with Ray Hall. And Mike Joy can give us a little on the leader's pit strategy here. Mike?
Ken, this is such a game of fuel. The 2 brief caution periods have stretched the window. Michael Andretti now expected on lap 76 or 7. That's 6 laps from now. Emerson Fittipaldi, 74 to 78. They've got a little wider variance with the Penske Mercedes, which is a little thirstier than the Ford Cosworth.
So there's the story on what we can expect.
Boy, Rivero there making a pretty powerful move. Got down on the inside of Bobby Rahal and held him off. Outpowered him down the straight. And Bobby Rahal must have been saying, uh-oh, have I just done the right thing on this engine choice?
And now you see Unser closing in car number 1 on Rahal. Unser moving in. Rahal slips back to 5th. Unser from 6th on the attack. Villeneuve continuing to lead. First time Villeneuve has led on a 1 mile oval, and only the second time on an oval. It's here at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Bosch Sparkplug Grand Prix at lap 73. Unser challenging Rahal.
As the evidence was noted, now we are inside that, you know, if you would have had yellows, we would have seen all the stops. Now it'd be interesting to see how far some of the leaders can stretch.
Riding with...
Oh, Brian Hunter there coming down the inside.
Running in 14th spot. What can you tell from the hands on the wheel there, Mario?
Well, right now it's, I guess we'll have to have more of a shot, but to me it looks like the car is quite neutral. He's not feeding the steering too much, as you can see. If you see the hand up on top of the wheel around the 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock position, then you're pushing. But I would be surprised if that were the case right now. He's probably running a fairly neutral car.
75 for the 200 miles are now complete. Rahal is on pit road. The car that has been running in 4th and backing up a bit as you stay with Brian Herta down that 35-foot transition into 3. Here's Mike Joy.
Jim Prescott, Dave Alguera, Bill DeSant, and Glenn Nappinshoe putting tires on this car in 13 seconds or so. 7 seconds for Mark Dreisaitl to fuel it. He is down and away, and Emerson Fittipaldi, 1 pit away, is in the pit lane right now, coming into the attention of the Penske crew.
This happening at lap 76. Lap 76 of 200 as you watch Fittipaldi on pit road. Mike Joy standing by for Fittipaldi's stop.
Emerson right on the button, stops it right at the outside front tire changer. He's the man with his hand in the air, and Emerson lines up the car right with Rick Renneman's hand. Fueling just about complete. The car is in gear. It's in the air. Down. Fittipaldi is away.
Mario? Well, it's interesting. The 2 Mercedes cars pitted so far with Ray Hall and Emerson. Now we'll have to see just how far the Fords can go.
Well, we heard that Bobby Rahall's fuel management checking system had gone faulty, and they were going to have to compute it themselves the old way with a pencil and a bit of paper. So obviously they probably would stop a bit early.
So he probably played it a little safe anyway.
They say that Villeneuve will come in on lap 90, Mario. So, as you watch this youngster from the province of Quebec continuing to dominate here, we'll be back in a moment at Nazareth. At lap 84, Michael Andretti, who had come to 3rd during this period of pit stops, making a transition on the leaderboard. There you take a look at the leaderboard now with Villeneuve in 1st, Ribeiro in 2nd, Bobby 3rd. The Andretti pit stop has just been completed. He is back on the track, and we can get more on the story from Mike Joy.
Ken, Michael Andretti was in, but it was a brief stop. 4 tires and fuel. He had complained of looseness entering the corner. The team feels that's because he was coming to a very light fuel load. They're hoping that just by filling the tank, it will balance the car out.
We're watching out here, Mike. Salazar. Elisero has just been lapped again, but no, that's Wilson Fittipaldi that's just been lapped. By Villeneuve running in 1st place. And again, at lap 88, so we're just a few away from where we should see the leader on pit road.
Christian Fittipaldi really hanging on there to Jacques Villeneuve. Although he's a lap down, of course, but he has stopped.
The only man that has not stopped is the leader. Villeneuve is the one car out there among the top 20 who has not been on pit road. Now let's review for you how they stand as we come toward lap 90 this time by. Villeneuve in 1st. Then everyone else has made that pit stop. Fabi 2nd, Johansson 3rd, Gordon 4th, Fittipaldi 5th, Cheever 6th, Christian Fittipaldi into 7th, De Ferron is in 8th, Boisel 9th, and Herta is in 10th. Now just outside of that top 10, Michael Andretti is in 11th, Al Unser to 12th, Scott Pruitt back to 13th. You're riding with Sweden's Johansson.
That was a good classic example, and he was trying to go around that car on the outside, and on the outside of him went Michael Andretti. And it just shows how careful these drivers have got to be. You can't move around, you can't try and make room because you just never know. And as Mario said earlier, there is those blind spots.
Mario, it's always traffic. This reminds me so much of Loudon, New Hampshire, coming up this summer. No matter where you go, you're in traffic.
Well, it's typical of all the mile tracks, of course, you know, but here, as I said, you're turning most of the time. You only have one really long straightaway, and because of that, you know, obviously you're going to see a little more action here than you see at the other mile track.
Now remember, they're turning this track at about 20 seconds a lap. So you just about get time to intake a breath, and you're down that straightaway. Leader is on pit road.
Wow.
Dick Berggren standing by as the young Canadian from Quebec, Montreal, is on pit road.
He made an amazing 92 laps on 1 tank of fuel, 40 gallons in that tank of fuel. They're going to fill that thing right back up to the top again. They've already got it. Ordinarily, the fuel is the limiting factor. It is the limiting factor right now. There, the tires were done much sooner than the fuel. Fuel is now in. They're ready to roll. Great stop.
Roll they do.
That looked like a good stop. Boy, oh boy, when he dropped that clutch, he shot him. That was terrific.
I know, I have to say unbelievable because, I mean, I don't know where he's getting the mileage.
92 miles.
92
we
miles.
better just check that car, Sonny.
Team Green looking very good out there on that pit stop. Looking back through the field now. And as he comes back on the track, Villeneuve drops to 7th position. Fabi, who won his first oval race he ever ran, which was at Phoenix, Arizona, now commands this event. Number 33, Teo Fabi, into first. Johansson is in second, and Fittipaldi in third. Italy, Sweden, and Brazil, 1, 2, 3. Gordon just outside in fourth. That international team battle among the countries really heating up here at Nazareth today, Mario.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, this is really a truly international field, and well, like I said, it's just like golf. I guess it's and it's beautiful to see. Actually, there's quite a mix.
Stefan Johansson in the blue and red car there, but we were on board with him as he weaved his way through that lot of traffic, and he really did put some moves on people, and he is running really, really strongly and up to second spot now.
And he loves this track. Johansson says this. He said, I should have left Formula One 5 years earlier and got started here. Let's listen to Johansson at work in second place. Just ridden a little more than a mile in 20 seconds from the guy who drove for Ferrari from McLaren, but says he likes this ride with the Bettenhausen team as well as anything he's ever done in his entire racing career. Out of the same stock that gave us Joe Bonnier and Gunnar Nielsen, Ronnie Peterson. Johansson currently second in this Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix at Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and will return to Nazareth after this message and a word from your local station. Back with you at Nazareth, Pennsylvania, just experiencing the third caution of the day. The man currently second in the PPG standings. Gugelmin has crashed. Gugelmin is being picked up. We'll take a look at it in a moment, but it couldn't come at a more perfect time for the front of the field. Let's go quickly to Mike Joy.
A near on-schedule pit stop for Teo Fabi, who was in during the caution period at lap 31. It's the first time Fabi has led all year, Ken, but by pitting this early, as does Al Unser, I believe they will both have to make another stop.
Here's Johansson. Back on the course. Again, we are experiencing the third caution as Gugelmin crashed, bringing out the flag.
But that's what we have. We have a field that's pretty mixed up, actually, because of the two cautions earlier, and some that pitted, some that didn't. And now it's going to be, it's called a play of when and if the next caution comes out, because, I mean, it could play either way. It's right now, it's you know, you're at the mercy of what's going to happen as far as playing your cards. For instance, when you talk about Michael or Villeneuve, it looks like, you know, they'll be able to do one more stop. But then if a caution comes in somewhere along the way, I mean, it's you know what I mean.
Well, this racing, of course, is a tremendous play on gambling on when there is going to be a caution. A lot of the time, of course, that's part of the pocket power part of this racing.
Down to Dick Berggren.
Well, Ken, you talk about gambling. This is Robbie Gordon's right rear tire. You can see where he scuffed the wall. He really wanted to come in. That caution was very timely, but he stayed out for several laps. They wanted to come in and take a look at this thing and see what kind of shape it's in. They don't have a valve here to determine whether or not this tire is leaking air. Some of the teams do. So that caution was very, very timely. Gordon now says he can go all the way to the end without having to stop again.
There you see Gordon. What a run he's giving us, as he did in Phoenix, Arizona. He stands 7th on the field. Bad break for Gugelmin. And take a look at this replay in the turn 3 area.
Wow. I wonder he wanted to come in and have his wheel looked at.
Talk about dusting off the marbles, folks.
It's about as close as you're going to do and get away with it.
What a bad break for
Snagged
Bruce
his
McCaw.
uniform on the wall.
Yeah, at least his elbow. Bruce McCaw, Tom Armstrong and company.
I do not.
Having their problems today. You saw that car coming in. Gugelmin's car started on the pit road. They had to come back and pick it up another time. We'll try to get you more information about what brought that car to a halt and our third caution period of the day. We are at lap 109. We've crossed the halfway mark in 5 out of the 8 previous races. Leader at half distance, at mid distance, has gone on to win the race. Fabi was leading at halfway. But what a story you have in front now. This international battle among countries. Brazil looks pretty strong. Christian Fittipaldi is now the leader, and his uncle Emerson is in second spot. Canada's Villeneuve is in third. Teo Fabi back to fourth. Sweden's Johansson in fifth. Then comes Eddie Cheever, Gordon, Michael Andretti, Ray Hall. Rivero in the Honda back in 10th, ready to pounce. And Guerrero, Carlos Guerrero, he is into 11th place. De Ferron is running in 12th. Brian Herta 13th. Al Unser you find in 14th spot. We get ready to get in this thing.
Yeah, you know, if Villeneuve were to pit now, he could go all the way, because the last time he went 93 laps and it's only 91 laps to go. You know, that's quite interesting, actually.
It is so much.
I'm going to ask him later how he did that.
I think a lot of people are going to ask him later how he did that.
It's so much fun to watch this young man, Villeneuve, with that number 27, his dad's number that he took to 6 Formula One victories, and you knew him so well, and see this kid just come out here and fly.
Yeah, no question. I mean, he's pure talent. He's shown that, and he's shown a learning curve, and putting, if there were mistakes, putting those to, you know, just trying to overcome some of that and learning from them. We've seen just positive progress all the way.
Over in La Belle Provence, up there around Montreal, he is the new hero, just as his dad was until 1982 when that rainy day at Soldier, and still is in that area of Canada and all over Formula One world. Okay, we're getting ready to go once again. By the way, Thursday night, CBS Sports brings together many of your Olympic favorites in a primetime special presentation. Skates ×2. You'll see the World Figure Skating Challenge with Nancy Kerrigan, Oksana Bayul, Katerina Witt, Victor Petrenko, and Brian Boitano are among the stars featured Thursday night at 8 on CBS. Ready to go racing again in the Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix. We are at lap 112 as they come to green. And the Fittipaldi gang from Brazil, for the moment, has the lock on this one.
And there is Christian Fittipaldi in that green and yellow car. And of course, the interesting side note on all these international stars and drivers in this series, of course, is the amount of television that this series attracts around the world. And people like Villeneuve are heroes in Canada, and Christian Fittipaldi in Brazil, and Salazar in Chile, because they take these telecasts.
30 of them carrying this event live today around the world. Ah, look at Villeneuve moving in again. On the outside in turn 2.
Yeah, he's really working.
Place Mario like to work.
Yeah,
there, right in front of him is Scott Pruitt in the 20 car. He must be down a lap.
Bad news for Gordon. Black flag. Brought in, ran over an air hose. So it's a stop and go, and that hurts Robbie Gordon's chances today.
Stop and go around here, you're dead meat.
Yeah, but the same thing happened to him in Phoenix, and he came right back. Remember, he made up a lap at Phoenix and went on to win. He's exciting to watch. So many young new... Hey, Mario, how does it make you feel to think that Unser Jr. and Michael Andretti are now veterans out here?
Well, I think it speaks very well for the health of IndyCar racing, really.
Emerson Fittipaldi there showing no signs of aged nerves at all as his nephew, Christian, comes into the pits.
Christian Fittipaldi coming on pit road. We'll have Dick Berggren there for you in just a moment. Dick Berggren.
Well, the problem is fuel, Ken Squire. They last pitted on lap 41. They had just told their driver, Fittipaldi, to lean it out. There's an adjustment on the dashboard that can lean the engine out. They had hoped to stretch it a lot further than this. It didn't work. Fittipaldi, running out of gas, had to make this pit stop.
Away at 13.5.
Don't know why he didn't pit during the yellow, actually. You know, you don't get any points for leaving the race here, so that really hurts. Because when you pit during the green on a mile track, I mean, you go down a lap automatically.
Mario, that shot, when you see them come out of 2, you just don't get the sense of speed that you get when you're sitting here in Nazareth, PA. How quick are you in that area of the track?
That's true. I mean, it's, you know, you're coming off that corner at least 160 miles an hour, you know, and that's on race conditions. So, yeah, it's
well, of course,
plenty quick.
this whole racetrack, I mean, if you drive around it or look at it, and then you saw the qualifying time, 187, I thought there'd been a misprint. You know, I'm thinking 187.
We can get more on the Gugelmin story, and here is Mike Joy.
Ken, when Mauricio spun the car, he touched nothing. Only flat spotted the tires, came in, got 4 more, went back out under caution. Also, Gilles de Ferran in the Pennzoil car stopped under caution because they didn't get a full fuel load the first time they stopped. Had to go to the back of the field to avoid an additional stop under green. The concern right now is in the pits of the cars with the Mercedes Ilmor engines. They're not as fuel efficient as the Ford Cosworths, and they're wondering how they can make this race with perhaps not another stop.
I think they are worrying after they'd looked at Jacques Villeneuve there do that 98-lap stint. That's pretty impressive. Got the old Mercedes engineers scratching their heads.
We are Emerson Fittipaldi making anybody on his team in that Penske organization scratch their heads, leading by 2 7/10 seconds, and Villeneuve is really closing up. He is moving back into this thing from second spot. Fabi lies third. Sequestered in fourth is Johansson, and Cheever is fifth.
Michael Andretti back in sixth. He seems to have got a bit out of touch with the leaders. Although, as Mario said earlier, this is such a short, fast and furious racetrack here, and as you pointed out, Villeneuve there trying to get around. Is that Solomon?
I think time with Pruitt.
Yeah,
It's Pruitt, indeed.
Pruitt, of course, on Firestone. Firestone's coming back to IndyCar racing after a 20-year layoff, doing very, very well with Pruitt. Pruitt leading the championship as we go into this race.
And Gugelmin in second. Unser in third after having some problems at the start of the year.
Wow, that outside pass. Boy, it looks brave to me. Oh, no, he's getting
3 wide. Unbelievable.
You got to weave your way through that traffic. Wow. Tremendous judgment called on here from everybody. The lapper and the lappee.
Make you wish you were still out there, Andretti?
Oh, yeah.
I think it makes him glad he's in here.
Oh, not Mario. Hope we get to see in some sports car races real soon. Back out there.
Well, keeping that one open, obviously.
And that interval between first and second has widened out again. When he was caught up in that traffic, he lost several seconds. So Fittipaldi lies first, Villeneuve second, Fabi third, Johansson fourth, Eddie Cheever in fifth, Michael Andretti in sixth. Bosch Sparkplug Grand Prix, Nazareth, PA. The 134th mile of 200 to be run. And a battle for third developing. Teo Fabi in the red and white car, number 33 there. But the story is Eddie Cheever from 21st up to 4th. Remember that Cheever was 4th at Long Beach. Remember, this is one of his best tracks. 4 times in a row, the top 10 until last year when he had that shunt with Mario down here in turn number 3. And what a job Cheever is doing again today. He's closing in on Fabi, and what a race we're having back here in third as Emerson Fittipaldi continues to lead. Villeneuve is in second. Let's go to Dick Berggren with more on this story of the battle for third place.
Well, Ken, Eddie Cheever is anything but confident at this moment, even though he is running so very well. On Friday in practice, he blew an engine. The timing chain apparently let go, and that was all when that one went. And at Long Beach, the last race that we ran, at Long Beach, Cheever was running in second spot with the checkered flag in sight. He ran it out of fuel, wound up 4th. Now, these guys run awfully close to the edge. When Gordon won at Phoenix, he had less than a half a gallon of fuel in the car. So Cheever, no doubt, is going to be thinking about fuel and thinking about engines as well as he is running.
Fabi there got boxed in by Danny Sullivan, and Eddie Cheever really took an opportunity chance there, snaffled his way by. Now it'll be interesting to see if he can pull away, because going back to what Mario said earlier about being in traffic and in the air, he was holding on to his own with Fabi very well. Now he's in front. Is he going to be able to pull away?
Oh, I think no question. It looks like he's really working right now.
Now, that's one of those Series 1 Ford cars. He doesn't have one of those new Series 2 engines, does he, in this one?
Yeah, but it's more handling here. You know, if you can just get the power down, believe me, he has enough horsepower to get the job done.
Well, the man that won 67 IndyCar Championship races, A.J. Foyt, here today looking on as Eddie Cheever's looking good.
This is the thing about when you drive for A.J. Foyt. I mean, you've pretty well got to perform, because if you don't, you can't go back to the pits anyway.
But Cheever has always been the star-crossed driver. Back to your days in F1, his IndyCar experience, so many times, so close, and it evades him.
Yeah, that's right. And he has so much experience, you know, a lot of Formula One and sports cars, and you know, so he's due for some good to happen to him. And he's certainly with a good team there, and I'm sure Foyt is happy with him. But right now, he's looking quite good. He's definitely moving forward.
Serious traffic now.
Oh, there's
Fabi comes up on the inside again and gets around.
Just
nearly got around Cheever there.
Almost around. Is that Johansson?
No, that's Gujamin.
Gujamin back.
And there's Brian Herters out there in the Ganassi car in this group of traffic. But these two guys have got to... Here we are on board with Brian Herter now. Right behind him is Cheever. But Herter, of course, is in his own battle with Gordon and Ribeiro.
That's back there in 8th, 9th, and 10th. Ribeiro is 8th. Gordon is 9th. Herta 10th. Tell you what, Nazareth may not be the most accessible to airports. It may not have the 4-lane highways. But if you really want to see some pretty exciting tight racing, if you're not here today, hey, that Loudon, New Hampshire, Milwaukee coming up, of course, that was one you love.
Yeah, there's no question. All these mile ovals, I mean, if you get the car working on these mile ovals, I tell you, at the end of the day, you just smiles all over, because there's no more satisfaction to be able to pass on the outside and just bonsai here and there.
Oh, it's just terrific racing to watch, of course, weaving in and out of this constant traffic.
Dropping back to the leader here. There you see Emerson Fittipaldi. His lead, it was running 7.
Puts wheels there with Bazell. Smoke coming off both those.
And he really stepped out, and you could see the car squirrely for a moment. He was running from 7 down, being challenged by Villeneuve up to 5 3/10 of a second, the interval, and that's going to cost him dearly. Down to 4.3 as Villeneuve continues to get back in the picture for the lead.
And Emerson Fittipaldi is still going to get past Raul Bassell now, too.
Now, Fittipaldi had Phoenix covered, Murray. It was his until that splash of gas at the end. I wonder if fate's got him again here today.
Well, I don't know, but no question, though. You can see that right now they found the setup again, you know, when it comes to the race itself. The way he's slicing through traffic, you know, shows the car right there. Just the way he comes off the turn sweep always tells you that you really got something under you.
Yeah.
And he's been doing that all day, actually.
Mike can tell us more about this car, too.
Team manager Chuck Sprague has talked to Emo on the radio. They are ready for his pit stop, which must come before lap 160. I think they're planning about 152 or 153, but the contact will not hasten the pit stop. The car is undamaged.
Interval sprints back to a 5 6/10 seconds. You say there's a little trouble with the fin on the front of the
Well, his fin touched Raul Bassell's left rear wheel, which caused the smoke. Now Emo's got to get round his nephew. Christian, he's going underneath, and as you'll see on that right fin, see that big black mark at the front?
What I'm surprised is that he didn't cut the tire, because that's carbon. The carbon's very sharp, and usually you wind up with puncturing somebody's tire like that, but both of them got away very luckily on that.
I tell you what, those fins are not that difficult to snap off either, really, are they, when you hit a wheel like that?
No question.
Going under Carlos Guerrero.
Looking for Villeneuve in second spot. And there he is.
And right behind him is Ribeiro.
And he's having his own battle with Gordon and Herta, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Villeneuve now on a mission, but he's getting caught up in traffic, and that last move cost him a little. He fell almost 3/4 of a second back, 6.1 seconds. Let's take a look at Cheever. Watch for Cheever coming off the second turn here. Number 14, the black A.J. Foyt car. Eddie Cheever up to 3rd. There he is.
Yeah, he's running strong right now, I tell you. He's a man on a mission.
Well, you see Johansson in there, too, is it not? Right there with him. 4th place.
Stefan Johansson has caught him up significantly in that last clutch of traffic that they've been working their way through. It's certainly played into Stefan's hands, and now he's right behind Eddie Cheever, duking it out for 3rd spot.
Yes.
Mike Joy.
It'll be a routine pit stop for Fittipaldi. Bit of brake smoke from the front of the car as they replace the 4 Goodyear tires. John Whiteman is fueling, and it's Steve Tradeup who is watching the sight glass on the overflow. They're out. He's away.
the 1989 and 90 champion Emerson Fittipaldi away and back on it. Take a look at that tap once again.
He's trying to put a lap on Bazell, and they just snagged there. And Bazell car there, look at the way it's snaking around there. I bet that got the old heart jumped right up into the throat.
We're at lap 151 or 150 when we saw that pit stop that was made by Fittipaldi. Now, what about Villeneuve here?
Well, I'm still perplexed by that one, but, you know, they're doing something right, obviously. They're just... The one thing that for sure they're doing, they're picking up every ounce of the fuel, and many times that makes a difference, especially on a mile track, because a lot of cars have that problem. They don't pick up the last gallon, like gallon and a half, so...
Round Ravi
Something's
Rahal.
really working for them, and it's going to make a difference.
Round Rahal back there in 14th spot. You just saw him slashing through traffic, closing up again to put a lap on Salazar. We're showing 155 laps complete here. Villeneuve, Cheever fighting first and second. There is a new leader in the Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix. It is Eddie Cheever out of Aspen, Colorado, born in Phoenix, Arizona. He's been trying for that win for years now. The interval went from 11 seconds right down to zip in about 6 laps. And now it's Cheever commanding the race, which begs the question, what's the story with Villeneuve in car number 27? Dick Berggren can give us more on that story.
Well, Ken, the crews are telling us that they're dialing the fuel down. They're leaning the car out. That's slowing it down. Of course, everybody up and down pit road is watching television, and they know everything they tell us, everybody else knows. So that may or may not, in fact, be the case. They, however, last pitted on lap 96. They must make another pit stop no matter what. Meanwhile, Eddie Cheever, your leader, Foyt is going to gamble. They're looking at running all the way. He last stopped on lap 106. He just might make it.
Lap 164 is where we're at. He just missed a podium finish at Long Beach. Eddie Cheever running out of fuel in the final moments of that event. Looking really good right now. First time since 1992 that Cheever has led.
Well, that's quite interesting, actually. But as I said, I'm not surprised the way he's been running. Now the trick is going to be the fuel, really, because, again, you know, he has a long way to go. And, you know, if you're going to make it, you can't keep running the way he's running. So he's going to have to back down the mixture. And you back down the mixture, obviously you're going to lose some power. But then, at the same time, why would Villeneuve, which for sure has to make another stop, want to back down on the power or lean the mixture?
You don't think they're trying to be...
I don't think that's the case.
You don't think they're trying to be super clever, do you? And really go without stopping again on Villeneuve's car? They couldn't possibly
they're not really going to have a chat with him.
Well, Villeneuve looked pretty long the last time out there. Dick Berggren.
There's more from the Villeneuve pit. We have heard that the car is understeering, it's pushing, and it's getting worse every lap. That surely is not going to help his fuel situation, but he's also got a chassis problem.
Well, there you see Villeneuve through that first turn in a millisecond. Then that second turn that takes forever, about 2.5 seconds.
Well, I can understand the chassis problem, yes, being the cause more of him slowing down than anything else, but honestly. And understeer, well, you know, that could make sense. This particular track really changes after midway. Rubber really makes a difference here, and it does bring in a different characteristic in the balance of the car.
And Stefan Johansson now only about 1.5 seconds or less behind. There we see him, only just behind Jacques Villeneuve now.
Now Cheever,
Cheever would have to go 94 laps if he were, you know, on his fuel stop, and that's a pretty tall order.
That's a tall order driving at the speed he's driving at the moment, especially.
Exactly.
Fabi is on pit road. Teo Fabi running in 5th place comes in as you ride with Johansson, currently 3rd. What a great finish this would be for the Bettenhausen people. Tony Bettenhausen Jr. with his year-old Penske chassis and getting a great ride from Johansson, who just dearly loves these mile ovals.
And getting more confident every day. Got himself a new engineer this year and really feels that he can do a lot better than he's done in the last couple of years, and is really looking forward to it.
Mike Joy.
They've taken one turn down on the right front wing on Michael Andretti's car, trying to cure some of that looseness. They are finished fueling, and because of the time taken to make that turn, the right front tire changer is a little late getting done as far as what they would like, but they've made the adjustment that hopefully will put him back in the chase.
As he came in, he'd been in 5th, so drop him back only a spot or two.
That's the only... Oh, that's...
What was that all about? Michael Andretti just getting out there and hammers that wall as he came off turn 2, Mario. It looked like the wheel broke loose.
It must have been something like that when he came out of the pits, because he was just coming out of pit lane.
Okay, throw out all the strategy. Caution's out. Oh, that is a sadness. Trying for that first win of the season. You know, in 91, he won those first 2 poles as he did this year. Now, watch what happens right here. Not a chance.
Yeah, he just, I think he probably just tried to accelerate on cold tires on that.
Got a wheel on the grass.
Lane, got a wheel on the grass.
Watch right here. About 80 miles an hour just coming out.
Well, right now he's just coasting in.
This is him coming in to pit road after he's brought out the caution. He was coming out on the exit lane.
You think he just gave it too much?
Yeah, obviously. It looks like that he just tried to accelerate too hard on cold tires, and it's a very, very narrow lane.
Terribly narrow, and it's got no camber to help you at all. That is dead flat.
Well,
here's Mike.
They have the car up in the air, Ken, but it is not running as they look over the damage on the right side. The right rear wheel has been removed. They're having a look at the hub, and they've told Michael to pull off the steering wheel and climb out.
Well, the Newman-Haas racing team this year not having an overabundance of luck. There's no doubt about it. The cars are fast, the competitive anything. The drivers are 2 of the best, and they're just absolutely just... I bet he can't believe it. I bet old Carl Haas just can't believe it.
Let's take a look at that last pit stop. There's the right front wheel. Right rear on. Clearing away. Now watch this right here.
Oh, that's it. See, it was never on. That's why he went off.
Right.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It was on top of the pegs, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was not his fault. It was on top of the pegs.
Oh, wasn't it? No.
It was never registered into the... Yeah.
So Michael Andretti waits another day on this one. That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah.
So here
we were almost blaming him, but the fact that the right front wheel was never put on.
Dick Berggren.
Well, behind me, A.J. Foyt and his team can have been looking over their computers. They're still having conversation about what to do, but right now, so far, the decision seems to be that yellow was exactly what they needed. They're going to give it a try.
We're at 177, Dick. Lap 177. So they're getting down inside that window to go home.
Well, that's it. You know, actually, if you do it right during the yellow like this, you can get upwards of 7 miles to the gallon. You know, so you can really milk it. During these yellow laps. So
Michael Andretti driving a patient race, coming back up through, and then a little bit of a miscue here. What happened?
I guess they dropped the jack a little early, and they sent me away, and the right front tire wasn't tightened, and I was going out of pits, and the thing just went straight off the track, and luckily I didn't hit the wall head on. I almost did, and it just caught, and I spun a little bit and hit the right rear, and it bent it.
How was the car today?
A bit of a handful, actually. It was good in the beginning, then it went away, especially in traffic. It just wasn't as good as we'd like in traffic, and you know, a couple other guys were definitely better than us. And also, we were just catching the yellows all wrong. Yellow would come out every time I was in turn 3, and I was never able to take advantage of it.
Well, instead of you, I've had to have your dad in my ear all day. Do you have any advice for him on his new career here in broadcasting?
Oh, I hope he had more fun than me today.
I think he did. Sorry to see you out.
Take a look at the pit stop another time here, Mario, as he comes in.
Yeah, with the pit stop, everything was quite normal, really. He says you can see the change Actually, the way it looked, there looked like he put more wing on the right front. And you can see, if you watch the right front, once he exits, you'll see sparks where the wheel actually was never really in a peg. Right there. See that? See, the right front wheel was ready to come off, and of course, you know, that was not his fault.
So, misfortune fights Michael Andretti again on this 95 season. Hope it's better for him at Indy. Christian
Fittipaldi going very slowly down.
Well, this would help here again. This would help Cheever tremendously if you get the prolonged yellow, because if Christian is going to be towed in, you know, every lap that you get now,
get 7 miles to go.
Yeah, I would. If I was AJ, I would pay a lot of money for any of these caution laps.
I think he's running up and down pit road. Yeah. Anyway, we've got 20 miles left to go, 180 laps complete. We are in the 4th caution period of the day. 4 cars are on the lead lap. Eddie Cheever stays first, Fittipaldi second, Villeneuve third, Johansson in 4th. They are in the lead lap. Just back of them, Gordon in 5th, Boisel in 6th, DeFerron in 7th, Rahal is 8th, Fabi is 9th, Fernandez 10th, Ribeiro 11th, Scott Pruitt up to 12th, and Christian Fittipaldi was 13th as we saw him coming in. So we have at least another lap or 2 under caution. The advantage Foyt and company on this one. Scott Pruitt, there you see him. Giving a good effort again today. Lost the number 1 car in the second. He is in 12th position. One of the really great stories of 95, the successful union of Firestone, Pat Patrick, and Scott Pruitt together, joining forces and getting well done. Firestone, once the dominant tire. Pat Patrick, one of the founding fathers of IndyCar racing. And Scott Pruitt, 89 Indy 500 rookie star, was a man with a future. But the spotlight faded. Firestone in 74, Patrick in 91 withdrew from racing. Scott Pruitt's testing crash in 90 nearly ended his life. For all, it's been a long, hard road back. Firestone Tires and Patrick now look to Pruitt to pilot their comeback.
The reason he hired me was because he felt I had unfinished business in IndyCar racing. And for me to be involved with this whole operation, it's been a dream come true.
Can this dream lead to a championship?
We're just doing our own little deal here. You know, we're finishing up at the front, we're running strong, we're running hard every race. And I think if that keeps happening, you'll see us right there at the front at the end of the year. This is my greatest opportunity ever in motorsports, period. Yeah, I still believe this is my year.
Oh, there you see Scott Pruitt as the pace car comes in at lap 183, fighting his way back into the race from 12th position. Up in front, it is Cheever. The question, can he stay there? In front of Emerson Fittipaldi second, Villeneuve third, Johansson fourth, all in that lead lap.
And there's no doubt about it that Scott Pruitt leading the championship coming into this event. And, of course, Firestone making a great comeback. And just look at that traffic. Oh. Wow.
I think we have another yellow there.
We've got another caution out. Hard crash. I believe coming out of 3, DeFerron has put the Jim Hall car into the wall. And this is at lap 186. This is at lap 186 that it's taking place. And that looks like it could take a little time to get cleaned up.
Yeah, this is really working. This is really working for Eddie. This is definitely, this is almost for sure that Cheever will be able to hang on. Wow.
Oh, see that wheel come off and fly across the track? It bounced between a couple of cars there.
Well, look, did you see the roughness of that wall? How it's trying to catch the car?
I did. I'm a bit surprised at that. That needs to be looked at, probably.
Yes. Yeah, he hit quite hard.
And then obviously having trouble extricating himself from the car.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like any particular damage on the tub, however. So, but he hit hard, I'm sure.
These modern race cars.
Sometimes the problem with that is that the gear shift on the right side sometimes can be a problem. But again, you know, it's the tub looks really in good shape there.
How'd he get?
Gilles de Ferron of Sao Paulo.
Yeah, his legs, everything.
Clambering out of car number 8, and he's okay.
They are so amazingly strong, these cars. Just look again as he gets up onto the gray stuff again, like we saw earlier on. Hits the wall, and then it doesn't slide around that wall as nice as you'd like it to. Hits a break in the concrete there and nearly flicks it up in the air. Now you watch this wheel come off. Luckily, misses Gilles de Ferron, and obviously bounces across the track in front of a number of cars. But these modern cars are so incredibly strong, and the punishment they take is quite extraordinary. But it's great for the drivers.
Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Ken, AJ doesn't want to talk on camera, but he just leaned down and whispered in my ear. He said, sometimes you have to gamble. And I asked him about the yellow flags. He said, before this yellow flag that we are now in, it looked like a lap 199 thing. Now, looks better.
It sure does at 7 miles per gallon. Big day for AJ if they pull this one off. There's your leader, Eddie Cheever. Issue is, are we going to get another green, or will it finish under caution? Trying to clean up this accident to the Jim Hall car. Back in a moment. Coming up next on CBS, final round coverage of the Kmart Greensboro Open from Forest Oaks Country Club in Greensboro, North Carolina. Stay with us for all of that action next year on CBS. Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Jim Hall's car, Gilles de Ferron, in only his 5th start. In big trouble here. Crashed 4 laps ago. They've done an amazing job of getting this track clear in this brief amount of time. We're showing 10 miles, 10 laps to go. On the restart, Cheever, Fittipaldi, Villeneuve, the top 3, Johansson back in 4th. And as far as fuel goes, Fittipaldi is certainly in great shakes there. He's got fuel, as is Villeneuve. I guess the issue, Mario, is do they have too much?
Well, Emerson definitely has more fuel than he needs, and that's extra weight. And the fact that he's quite a bit down the field there. He has, you know, quite a few cars in between, and so Cheever has quite a buffer there for himself, and he's light. I don't think when you want to be. Yeah, he's light when he wants to be. This is as right as can be for him, I think.
Eddie Cheever is certainly light, but is he caused just that one lap too light? Which could be but although he's had so many caution laps now, you feel pretty confident that he's okay.
I feel that it's no longer a gamble.
Well, it was
but the early gamble just paying off right now.
It was the gamble for this man, that splash of fuel at Phoenix, that cost Fittipaldi the win. Gave Robbie Gordon his first IndyCar win.
Shining example here of, you know, really the pit strategy giving the driver the race. If you will, just doing everything right. And a little bit of luck.
Back to Mike Joy.
I'm with Mario. I think AJ's playing Texas Hold'em. Of all the drivers I talked to all weekend, Eddie Cheever was the only one who told me he thought this could be a one pit stop race. How much fuel do they have? AJ has just told Cheever to turn it up 4 clicks. They're going to run the car richer if they have to go back to green because they know Fittipaldi's potentially faster. And AJ wants to win his team's first IndyCar victory since the USAC Pocono race in '81.
Sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, actually, you know, when you know, you're right down to 8 laps to go and leading, and you know the car's feeling good.
193 on the board. They'll take green next time by.
Fittipaldi's biggest problem, because he's about 7 or 8 cars back in the line, and he's going to have a tremendous job to get around those guys, some of whom are pretty fast.
You see Robbie Gordon sitting there just behind the leader. He is in 5th place, a lap down. Bobby Rahal is in 6th. Boiselle is in 7th. Bobby 8th. Fernandez 9th. Rivero 10th. Scott Pruitt is in 11th as we get set to shake him loose. Gordon, Rahal, Boiselle, Bobby, all 1 lap down. Fernandez, Rivero, Pruitt, and Unser, they are 2 laps down. Unser back in 12th position. Green is out. And getting a great start is Eddie Cheever.
Robbie Gordon trying to get his lap back.
Good time to let him go, too.
I was just going to say...
If I was Eddie Cheever, I think I'd be letting him go just right about now.
I would do, absolutely. Let him go.
The last thing you want to do is touch wheels with him with about 2 laps to go.
Indeed. And he'll mix it up. Eddie Cheever, who celebrated his best day back in Formula One on U.S. soil.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Look at that.
Oh. He took second in Detroit for Ligier, now looking for a win finally in something. And he doesn't want to let him go.
That was a good move.
Sure, they're telling him, let that one through. And now there are less than 5 miles to go.
Yeah, he can afford to really play it pretty cool right now.
Cheever stays first. Here you see Fittipaldi in second, and Villeneuve moving in.
I think right now we have a battle for second, really.
Villeneuve is the guy who's obviously trying to snag that second place away from Emerson Fittipaldi. But again, they're coming to heavy traffic too, and it's going to be difficult.
They're 2 7/10 of a second down as Villeneuve slashes to the inside. Tries to get himself some room under Fittipaldi.
Villeneuve has some new vigor in him after that
pit stop.
Caution, yes.
Old Lions and young Lions right here. Cheever stays well in front. And now the 197 marker is on the board. A.J. Foyt.
Wow, and they're coming up on lap traffic there.
That's Cheever going back. Eddie Cheever is not going to make the distance. Fittipaldi's going to first. Villeneuve into second. Cheever sliding back at 198.
Oh, wow.
Do you believe it? And it's a battle for the lead.
2 laps to go, 1 lap to go.
Getting down to the final moment. This is it, like Phoenix, but even closer. Fittipaldi in front, Villeneuve in second. Closing ground.
Wow.
Coming down, checkers are out. Give it to Fittipaldi. Emerson's 22nd IndyCar win is another surprise. As Cheever runs out of fuel 1.5 miles from home. We'll be back to meet the winner as Eddie Cheever crawls to a halt at Nazareth.
Luckily on the car, very strong, it didn't damage.
You didn't pit after the incident. After the incident, Emmo, the car, you did not hasten the pit stop because of the bump. How did you know it wasn't hurt?
Well, because I could feel in straight line, the car was straight. It's great.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
To Dick Berggren.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Jacques Villeneuve, just a couple of weeks ago, you celebrated your 24th birthday, and here you are with a strong second-place finish. How close were you on fuel mileage in that first run?
Fuel was never a problem. The first run, we ran it to its limit and just stopped when we were out of fuel. But we didn't need to stop before because the tires were still good. The car was still handling beautifully, and we could run strong. We had more problems with the second set of tires. My player's Reinhardt at that point had a lot of understeer because of the less stagger, and at the same time I picked up oversteer toward the middle of the run, so it was a little bit more difficult to do consistently quick laps at that time. Then after the second pit stop on the third set of tires, the car was really, really strong, and I could push ammo.
Ken Squire?
PPG Series in great shape with young men like that one right there. Eddie Cheever walks away today. We'll try to get a word with him in just a moment.
Top 5, Emerson Fittipaldi, Jack Nolan.
Football can be... Well, there's the celebration scene for Emerson Fittipaldi. And here's the scene of what it looked like for A.J. Foyt with the realization that it had evaded him another time. Mike Joy
Eddie,
is with Eddie Cheever.
You and AJ played a game of high-stakes poker and came up a card short, but boy, it had to feel good to be at least a mile from victory here.
Well, I had 4 aces in my hand, and right at the last minute, that ace turned into a 2. My computer said I had 4.5 gallons on board, which was more than enough. I had ample room. I think something must have gone wrong inside of the tank, and I knew I was in trouble after the second lap on the restart. I came out of the top corner, and the car stuttered, and that was it. But that happens. The car ran very well today. We've had to start back in the field right from the beginning of the year because we didn't have that much time to test and prepare for it. We've always been pretty strong on Sunday. It was the best result we've had, and we deserved the win, but that's easy to say. We didn't deserve to win because we didn't have enough fuel in at the end.
You were the one driver all week who told me you thought you could run a one pit stop race, so I know that you guys were thinking about this from the go.
It's possible here. There's so much traffic that if you can actually run with the traffic and not use up so much fuel, you can do that. But the car ran very, very well. There's probably something wrong inside of the fuel tank, but it's a pity. But we'll find out what it was. And we lost last weekend, or 2 weeks in Long Beach. We lost the second place because of that. So I think we're going to have a look inside of that and see what it was. But stuff happens.
A great job by Eddie Cheever as he stands here 1 gallon and about 100 feet from victory lane.
Final standings in today's Bosch Spark Plug 200 from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Emerson Fittipaldi recording his 22nd IndyCar victory for Roger Penske, his 93rd Team Penske win. Jacques Villeneuve looking great. Johansson, Gordon. As you look further back in the field, Scott Pruitt came up to 8th at the finish. You see Rivero with a Honda getting 11th as they prepare for Indy. Danny Sullivan with the next in the 18th position. Al Unser Jr. just didn't click like he did last year when he came roaring up through the field. And there are the remainder of the starters as to how they concluded their day. Let's go to Dick Berggren, standing by with a guy who had an incredibly good performance. Stefan Johansson's with Dick Berggren.
He did indeed, and after 4 races this year, you failed to finish 3. This third must seem awfully good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is a great finish for us. You know, we've had a little bit of a rough start to the season. We've been running fairly strong every race, but for some reason, something's always gone wrong, so it's very satisfying.
So many people were bouncing off other cars today. Did you have any of that?
Not really, no. I had a pretty uneventful race, really, in that respect. I had a small tank slapper here one lap where I got, you know, in bad turbulence, but, you know, overall, I really had a pretty good car all day.
Tank slapper finishes 3rd today.
So we'll be back to take a look at the standings, look at the nation standings, the manufacturers. There you see the manufacturer standings right there. Ford Cosworth at 92 to Mercedes-Benz in 2nd.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
CBS Sports coverage of the Bosch Spark Plugs Grand Prix is sponsored by Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug. Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you.
At Nazareth, Pennsylvania, let's take a look at the standings. Through Event 5, Pruitt stays in 1st. Villeneuve in 2nd. Ray Hall moves to 3rd. Tied with Gugelmin, dropping back a spot. Emerson Fittipaldi to 5th. Al Unser falls to 6th spot in those PPG standings after an incredible day here on this 1-mile track. Robbie Gordon, Tracy looking back through the field. Now take a look at the Nations Cup. U.S. in front of Brazil, 82-72. Big move by Brazil with Emerson back in 1st place. And speaking of Brazilians, another word from Mike Joy.
When Fittipaldi and Boisel bumped Ken, Emo knew because the wheel didn't shake that the car was okay. But the Penske team knew he didn't have a tire going down. Because of a cost of $100,000, they've developed tire pressure sensors that the telemetry sends that information down to the pit. They knew he didn't have a tire going down. They didn't have to pit him. That innovation paid for itself and then some today.
Sure did. Mario, old Lions beat the young Lions pretty good today.
Well, it's ironic that fuel strategy is what lost Emerson the Phoenix race, and that fuel strategy is what gave it back to him today. So, sweet revenge.
David, what did you think of this one?
Well, that complex season goes on. 5 races, 5 winners now. The young against the old, as I said at the beginning of the show. Watch out for Emo. Pulled it off again, but Jack Villeneuve is obviously a man to watch. And the Newman-Haas run of desperately bad luck or bad something just keeps on going.
So, Johansson with a great finish for Tony Bettenhausen. Going to see more of him. Big season upcoming. And if the PPG Series is coming to your part of the world, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, Loudon, New Hampshire, plan to be there to enjoy all the excitement of these beautiful cars, these great drivers running at their limit. Right on the edge is the story here. And as we saw in today's race, Mario, in races like this on mile tracks, you can't see better racing.
Yes, phenomenal action.
Emerson Fittipaldi reigns supreme in the Bosch Sparkplug Grand Prix today at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Villeneuve, the new star from Canada, is 2nd. Sweden's Johansson stands 3rd on the podium. So for David Hobbs, Mario Andretti, Mike Joy, and Dick Berggren, Ken Squire saying so long from the Nazareth Speedway in Pennsylvania, where Emerson Fittipaldi has won the '95 Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix. Coming up next, be sure to join CBS Sports for live final round coverage of the Kmart Greater Greensboro Open.